And I retired at 34 years old. And my retirement was based on I've got enough money to live the rest of my life. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Zane.
How we doing?
I'm doing well. If I may, and this is a request. I know this is your show, but you and I have talked about a lot of different things. And one thing that's curious to me that I've struggled with is we both came to the point of retirement before 40. We were both self-employed. We both got after a lot of the same things. And your story of your first retirement, when you retired for the first time at 34, really struck a chord with me because it's something that I think a lot of people miss, especially this generation. You have a lot of young men in particular that are hanging out in their parents' houses a lot longer. You have the whole concept of failure to launch. This is something that's not unique to the United States, by the way. Japan is experiencing a horrible rash of this with people that just end up living in their houses, living on the computer, and you have pornography and games and whatnot. And again, the issue that you came up to when you did retire and what drew you back into the workforce and the business world, it was really interesting. I'd love to hear that again.
Okay. Kind of caught me off guard there. Well, I guess I'll start early on. I bought my first property at 23 years old, 22 years old. And one of the comments, I got to correct a real quick. I said, I bought the property for $6,000. Actually, I traded a car for it. But that wasn't, the property didn't cost $6,000. That was the down payment. Okay. Right. So when we talk about what a property cost, I'm always looking at the down payment, right, not the total value of the property. Anyway, yeah, I got into practice. I worked hard. Did the 16, 18 hours a day, did very well. The big thing was kept investing my money, didn't spend it. And I retired at 34 years old. And my retirement was based on I've got enough money to live the rest of my life. And the key was to live the rest of my life. And I felt really good. I mean, I lived a real good life. I traveled a lot. I had a lot of fun. I mean, I was living in San Diego, young single doctor in San Diego. I was having a ball. But I could say I made a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake. It was a guidance, if you will. One of my coaches, one of my mentors, and I couldn't wait to tell him. I'm like, dude, I retired. I'm kicking back. I'm done. And he just looked at me and said, you are one selfish sack of, and I'll stop. But I'm like, I thought you'd be happy for me. What do you mean? He goes, is your entire existence based on just what you need? He said, okay, so you've got enough for yourself. What if you decide to get married? What if you want to have kids? What about, anything else that might come along? And I kind of got upset with him because I needed to defend myself. And I'm like, dude, I worked my tail off. I made it. I did the American thing. I'm retired. And he was like, nah, you suck. He's like, where are your thoughts? Who might come along that could use your help or that you might need to provide for? And it took me a while to realize, wow, that is terribly selfish. So I was retired for 6 or 8 months and got started again. And so I worked from 34 to 44. My second retirement was at 44. And at that point, I was married and had 2 young children. But I had made enough money and, I'd saved, I'd made investments and planned it so that I sold my practice. I sold some investment. I actually sold a ranch I had outside of San Diego. And I had enough money again for what I thought was everything I needed. And then I kind of got kicked again and realized, oh, wait a minute. I haven't looked forward to what might come down the road. And this is after my second retirement, then that didn't last too long and I started working again. But it was based on how can I provide service, and what's coming forward that I'm not even aware of at this point. We've talked about our kids, and my desire was to coach my kids and to be there and see whatever activities. I didn't care if they were in choir or if they were playing soccer or if they were going to be a hockey player or if they were, going to be on the debate team. I didn't care. I wanted to be there for them. I didn't want to be the parent that dropped them off and then said, "Bye, honey, I got to go back to work." And so that's what motivated me to drive forward, if you will, and continue with, using my talents and using my success and being able to drive forward with investments so that I could have that life. And then, I got to coach my kids in Taekwondo and not so much coach them. We had masters that coached them, but I could go there and watch them. And I could see their excitement, and I could see them develop, and I could see how valuable it was for me to be there. And that's something that doesn't get talked about, I think, in the financial world. But when I'm meeting with my financial clients, we'll sit and talk about that and go, what do you really want that maybe you're not even aware of yet? Because most of us have the vision that, I want to go on some really nice vacations. I want to drive a nice car. I want to wear some nice clothes. I want to eat at some great restaurants. Instead of those things, which I'm not going to say those aren't somewhat important, but what about, I want to be at my kids' recital at 7 years old. And this is a kid that doesn't even exist yet. I haven't even had, what about, do you want to coach their little league soccer or their little league basketball or, whatever sport they happen to be in, that kind of thing. And that's what really drove me, I guess. And that's part of what, when we talk about generational wealth and building our lives, building legacies, it's not about it's not about ourselves. It's not about me at 34 years old going, I won.
Right.
I hit it. I got the money. I got enough zeros in my bank account. I'm done. It's looking forward and going, okay, how can I maybe not even anticipate, but what might come my way and what do I need to build?
Right.
And so it's not so much about retirement. At 34, if you were around me, you were going to hear how proud I was. I was that big of, that big of ego, that I was just so proud of myself.
Right.
And then that pride went from just filling my balloon every day and floating me around to all of a sudden it was nothing. I was almost embarrassed that I was so self-centered and realized, wait a minute, I was given tremendous opportunity. I had wonderful people before me. And that's what really started me thinking about, well, what about all the people that came in the past, came before me, that also carried my same last name or my, maybe my mom's family and her last name before she was married. How am I representing them? Am I doing a good job of representing the people that came before me? And then am I setting a good example of the people that are going to come after me? And that's what really brought me back from being retired the first time, being retired the second time, and thinking, then I think I guess I would call it matured, where I said, I'm never retiring. I've been given such opportunities. I don't feel good about just kicking back and whether it's going and reading novels on a beach somewhere or whether it's, whatever people have of a vision of retirement, going to Europe for a month, whatever. I don't know. I don't have that vision because my thought is I'm going to build, how would I say, a generation or a generational legacy, if you will, that will be passed forward.
Yeah, the one aspect of this that I think is really clear is there was the initial thought of I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And then there's the initial thought of I'm taking care of my kids and myself at the same time. And then the last thought finally comes to, I'm taking care of people that I will likely never meet and never know. And that's my job now. And it totally removes you from the equation, because the question of your own prosperity and your own capacity to keep functioning in the world, that's done, that's settled. But it's, what good can I bring to the world, even if I won't see it actually come to fruition?
Yeah, it's a thought that, and I'll be very honest, I didn't grow up with that thought. Right. I grew up with, I was poor and I hated being poor. And by 34 years old, I had turned that around. And, I could go through and teach all the things that I did to get to that point, and there's value there. But I think the big value is understanding and learning just what you just said, what we're going to do going forward and what we're going to leave to people. I might not, I don't know, the Lord might take me whenever. I might not meet my grandchildren, which makes me kind of sad, but who knows? You might not. And what have I set them up with? Well, I'm going to leave them at least such that they can do whatever the hell they want. And that doesn't mean they're going to lay around and sit, live in one of our houses and not work, because hopefully I've given them a legacy to an example of work, of effort, of looking at your duty and realizing it's my duty to use my talents and to drive this enterprise that I choose to be involved with forward, whatever that enterprise is. Right. And it could be volunteering. It could be, building a new company. It could be whatever, just managing the investments we already have that I've established in my family trust. But it's putting forth this effort to go forward out of gratitude and respect for what I was already given. Right. And what I was allowed to have. And hopefully I've passed that on to my two kids. I think I have one just amazing, my son and my daughter are just amazing people. And whatever they want to have and whatever they choose to do, I know that they will carry on based on the example that I set. Right. Starting your day at 5 a.m, not ending until work's done. It doesn't, 5 o'clock, I'm out of here. Never had a 5 o'clock, where you ching, I'm gone.
Punch the clock
and get out. They know that we work until the work's done. And it's that establishment of an example that I was given. And I realized that after I tried to retire once and I got my butt kicked by my mentor, where he's like, are all your thoughts just on yourself? And I was like, yeah, pretty much. And that's how closed and small I was at that point. But he opened my eyes, and I didn't really want to see it at the time, but he opened my eyes to, okay, who came before you? Where did you get your work ethic? Where did you get your thought processes? Where did you get, your drive? And I realized, there were people that came before me, and it wasn't all me. And what can I take and push forward, to, like I say, to the generation that I haven't met and might not meet, whether it's grandkids or great-grandkids, or maybe people that I can mentor and help along the way. How am I going to help them if I'm sitting on some beach reading a novel? Right. And God bless you. If that's what fulfills you and you want to do it, go do it. But that's not for me. My thought is, let's help people where we can. Let's serve where we can. Let's show some gratitude to the wonderful things that have already happened in our lives that we've been guided through, and we've had people in front of us that came before us, and now we can go forward. So when I have people look at me and go, "Hey, you're 65. You're retirement age." I say, "No, I don't have a retirement age," because I feel very blessed and just full of tremendous gratitude that I'm able to do what we do. I'm able to work with, whether it's corporations or giving talks or helping individuals. It's moving people forward, and not so much just from my family. My family's taken care of. You know, my grandkids, once they're born, they'll never have to work if they don't want to. But God bless them, I hope they do. Right. And I hope that I've set the example where they can look at Grandpa and go, damn right we're going to work. We're going to do it out of, you know, respect for who came before us. So I see it, I guess, in wrapping up, just I see things that make me uneasy about America and about the citizenship of some of our people. But then I also see people that are out there just crushing it and just using their talent to the best that they can and getting coaching and getting ideas and getting in masterminds and doing all these positive things. And that's what really, really opens my spirit up, where I see we're pretty safe. Right. We got good people coming before us, you know, coming after us, and we're going to be fine, even though we've got some factions that, you know, like you said, want to sit in somebody's garage and play video games all day. And, you know, their biggest wish is to never have to have a job. There's going to be a few of those, but I'm counting on the ones that go, you know what, I can't wait to get this idea started, and I'm going to work my tail off. I don't care if it takes 16, 18 hours. I'm going to go get coaching. I'm going to go get mentors, and we're going to provide a service of some sort. We're going to invent something. And I really feel good about the way our country can move forward in that regard.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks for the question. It made me a little nervous when you started, but I don't know. Hopefully it's an inspiration to some people.
Well, you inspire me. I appreciate you, Zane.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.